It's the 4th of July, and you know what that means. A special podcast from the Joplin Andrea show. We've got a good one lined out. Thank you for joining us. Let's get started.
Well, happy 4th of July and welcome to the Joplin Andrea podcast. We're super excited to be here with you today on Independence Day.
Yeah, we got a lot of things to celebrate today. Two things quite special. We'll talk about those during the podcast. One of them, obviously, being the independence of the United States of America, the signing of the Declaration of Independence, our country becoming a great nation. But there's something else we celebrate on this day. Andrea and I do. We'll talk about it later.
That's right. We'll have to get to it.
Well, happy 4th of July, everybody. We hope so far it's been good.
Hopefully that you guys have attire just like us to celebrate the day in fashion.
Yeah, if you're listening and you can't see, we're kind of dressed up for the day. We've got some festive hats on and celebrating America.
Yes, so happy Independence Day. Well, let's get started. We have some very fun and hot topics for you today. The first one that we're going to get started with is we're going to talk about who's in your circle. And who's in your circle, as in what kind of friendships you have and why it ends up making a difference. So that's what we're going to kick off with first. And we're going to talk about even what the Bible has to say with it and why it's important. So,
okay, that sounds like a fun topic.
It is a fun topic. Yeah, and it's an important one.
I don't understand. Are you asking me who's in my circle, or is that just like the title of this segment?
Well, I think I might be questioning who's in your circle.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not questioning who's in your circle. Yeah, the title of the segment is who's in your circle.
This was like a gotcha moment where it's live, we're recording, and she was going to use this moment to figure out if I've got a friend she doesn't want me to have or something.
That's right. So if you're listening and you're his friend, you better watch out.
Okay.
Just kidding. No.
Okay, who's in your circle?
I've talked to a lot of people lately, and it's just so important who is in your circle. And so decided today it would be a great topic to talk about why it is important that you know who's in your circle. So you get started. Let's see, maybe what does the Bible say biblically about who's in your circle and why it's important biblically?
One of the thoughts that comes to my mind is a verse that tells us that there's wisdom in the multitude of counselors. And so one of the things we learned there is that it's important to have more than just one or two people that advise you on important matters. And I think that's because people have different vantage points, different perspectives. And if you're wise and you're willing to listen to a handful of different point of views, when you're trying to make decisions, it's helpful. And when you talk about who's in your circle, the type of decisions that our people in our circle of life help us make are often the big decisions. I mean, if you're struggling in marriage, you're going to have some friends that you're probably going to talk to about that. Might even be a coworker that you've gotten close enough to be able to talk to about life events. But you obviously want those people to be people that are speaking life, people that have a faith background and believe in God's design for the home. But you're going to have people in your circle that can hear you out and encourage you when you need encouraged. You need people that are willing to be straight with you as well. Like you need people that are close enough to you that they can tell you the truth and you still get along and still be, you got to have some tough skin sometimes to hear that maybe you're part of the problem. So I think it's important to have people in your circle that are varied, and you need to have more than one or two people in your life that advise you through difficult situations. And that's my thought on the big circle. There is such a thing as a small circle. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's let you talk a little here. What's your thoughts here on the circle of people in your life?
So biblically, I think about the scripture that God talks about how the wicked will lead you into wickedness. Mm-hmm. And how it's just so true, and how I've even from experiences when I was younger and not making great choices, sometimes I would have friends that would tempt me to do things I shouldn't, or, encourage me to do things that definitely were not good to other people. And so it does make a big difference in how, we can learn from those different things in life. But that's the main scripture that comes to my mind is, how like it does make a difference, because if we have people that are negative or they're constantly, doing things that they shouldn't, we are going to be in that same setting constantly, and eventually we're going to want to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I think we as people, all too often feel like, that won't be me. I can hang out with these people and I'm not going to get sucked in, or I'm not going to become naggy if they're naggy, or I'm not going to become this certain way. And if you're around somebody long enough, you will, because
you will. And here's why: because you want to connect with those people.
Yeah.
And so part of friendship is connection. And if all of your friends, you use the word naggy in this situation, if all your friends are naggy, constantly complaining about their husbands or their jobs or their parents or whatever it might be, if you're going to connect with that person, you're going to have no choice but to either agree with them and kind of get into their story and agree with them that it's terrible. And so you kind of nag on the same people they nag on, or you create your own story, your own narrative where it's like, oh, me too, my life's terrible, or my husband's a loser, my job is awful. And 100% that you become, to a degree, like the people that you surround yourself with. And so great lesson here is, if you might have a friend or two that is very negative, and I wouldn't say abandon them immediately and only surround yourself with positive people, but try to be positive, try to offset that, see if in fact maybe you can change the narrative in the conversations and bring somebody out of that negative mindset into a positive mindset. But you've got to be intentional, you use that word, and honest with yourself about the relationship. There needs to be some type of way that you're gauging, am I sincerely helping this individual, or is every time this person's around, I'm the one that's getting pulled down into negative thinking, negative talk? And if that's the case and you are incapable of changing that atmosphere with that individual, you do need to consider eliminating some of the time you're spending with that person if all they're doing is bringing you down. And so, yeah, your circle of friends makes a huge difference on the way you think, what you believe, the way you treat people, the way you respond to problems. Very important.
I think another piece of it too, like just right along the heels of that, is sometimes people don't have the choice to remove themselves. Say it's your family, it's your, sibling, it's your, anybody in your family. And so you don't really have the choice but to be in it to a certain degree, but I think for those people, it's all the more important that they have a great set on the other side, the flip side, that's constantly, encouraging them, reminding them, praying with them, giving them ways that they can be a light, even though the situation's dark. And so there are those situations too that
that's
excellent
advice. Excellent advice. Because you can't remove yourself from every negative relationship. Sometimes it's family, sometimes it's coworkers. Mm-hmm. Work environment can actually be very tough, and then you're around it for several hours a day. And so very important that when you do have free time to choose who you're with, that you're choosing to be with people that help you in a positive way. I want to quickly say before we move on to the next segment that there are two circles. You've got your larger circle of friends and family, and then what you might call your inner circle. Jesus had the same thing in his life. He had 12 disciples. And when you look at Jesus' ministry, he actually had three groups of people that he was somewhat involved with on a regular basis. One was all of the disciples. And we say disciples, we tend to think of 12. But when you look, there was a time when Jesus sent out another 70 in two by two. And so there was at least 80 or more committed followers to Jesus throughout the back half of his ministry. He was constantly teaching them, sowing into them. And then he had the group of 12, which was the ones he hand-selected and went and called to follow him. And then within that group of 12, there were three that the Bible records Jesus spending some extra time with and allowing into some of the more intimate moments of Jesus's ministry that the rest of the disciples just weren't a part of. This group of three, Peter, James, and John, they were with Jesus on the Mount of Transfiguration. They were with Jesus when he raised Jairus' daughter from the dead. And when you look at significant conversations, like in John chapter 21, you've got Jesus having a conversation with John, Jesus having a conversation with Peter, very individual, very personal. And it teaches us that you're going to have different degrees of circles in your life. And that inner circle of like really super close friends, most of the time it's not going to be more than 2 or 3. If all of you, if 50 people are your close friends, then really nobody's your close friend. Yeah, and I would even argue if 12, if you get 12 that are all, my best friend, then really you don't have a, best friend or friends. Mm-hmm. You've got a bunch of people that you're pretty close to. And so you're going to have 2 or 3 that you're always really close to. And I would argue that those 2 or 3, incredibly important, that they're people who help you up and do not pull you down.
Yeah, that's good. Super good. All right. Well, there's some good tips for you on choosing friends. So, next up is we're going to make a challenge to you on how you can make life fun. And so I have a challenge that I'm going to make to you, and Joplin, he's going to sit over here and think of what his challenge is going to be. But my challenge to you is to make life fun by finding ways to laugh. And so whatever that might look like for you, find ways to laugh, because I think laughing is like one of the funnest things that you can do is laughing. And then, it's contagious. So it gets somebody else to laugh. So find some crazy hats, set off a confetti bomb and scare the whole place, something like that. I may or may not have did that last week. And we all laughed so hard. It was super fun. So what you got?
That confetti cannon, when you shot it off, was really loud because the room that we were in had concrete walls and tile floor. And so it sounded like a gun went off. Uh-huh. It actually scared everybody really bad. And then there was confetti all over the place. And everybody did laugh. It was funny. Uh-huh. So for me, I think, how do you have fun? Definitely clean the house. You want a good clean house. I think cleaning is so fun. Very therapeutic, good time, makes me happy. Put on a little music.
I'm glad you threw the music in there.
Yeah, you want to have some music, some
Okay.
cleaning music,
Okay.
You want some cleaning music while you're cleaning. But if that's not fun for you, and you're part of the other 98% of the world, here's my advice on having fun. First of all, you do have to learn to laugh. I think Andrea's advice there was awesome. And so here's kind of a pretty philosophy-driven, a heavy philosophical idea here, but hear me out. We have most fun when we are at peace, when we're happy. And so the question then is, how do we live with a peaceful mindset and a happy mindset? And the answer to that is by following Jesus's instructions and commands not to worry about tomorrow, because you don't even know if tomorrow's going to come. Jesus said today has enough worry for itself, and you can't change anything by worrying. And so here's the principle to having fun. Learn to live one day at a time and enjoy what you do have to enjoy today. We lose today's joy when we stress out about tomorrow. And so a lot of times we lose happiness and joy and laughter in the moment today because we are so focused on where we want to get in our career, what needs to change possibly in some scenario in our life down the road, where we want to eventually, move to, or what the next purchase is. We're constantly thinking, especially as Americans here on this 4th of July podcast, we're thinking about advancing ourselves. We're always thinking about the next step, the next thing. And what can happen is we lose sight of today, and stopping and just being thankful and enjoying and being intentional about what I have today. My kids, right? My marriage, my home. And let's just enjoy those things today. And when you can learn to do that daily, take some time to just focus on what you have to be grateful for today. It becomes a whole lot easier. I mean, think about it. Today's July 4th. Most of you all are off of work, and you're going to be spending some time with family. What if tomorrow didn't come? What if today was the final day? What if tonight, when the clock strikes midnight, the Lord returns and we're all raptured out of this place? What happens, like if that was the case, what would you do today? Who would you make sure that, who would you want to laugh with today? Who would you want to make sure knew that you loved them today? Who would you call to make sure you said, hey, I love you? You learn to do that stuff as a way of life on a regular basis, and it can be a game changer.
That's good.
And you'll have more fun.
Yeah, have
in your day-to-day
more fun.
life.
Yep.
You have more fun.
Yep. And it never
also doesn't hurt to wear hats when your wife makes you wear a hat.
Doesn't hurt to keep confetti cannons around.
It does not hurt to keep confetti cannons around. This is,
and then it gives a good job for you, which makes you happy with the broom. Just sweep it up.
Yeah.
See, it's a win-win.
I like cleaning, but I don't necessarily like cleaning up other people's confetti, but I do it to make sure that it gets done correctly.
Yep.
And we all have fun.
Yep. Get out those confetti cannons.
Okay.
Have a blast.
Okay. All right. What's next?
All right. Well, next is, have you ever been at the store checking your own groceries out, or maybe going and filling your own drink up at the fountain? And there's always an option for tipping at the register. So I'm curious why we can't have like an option to tip ourselves. You ever thought about that?
You might be surprised to know, but I have not thought about an option to tip yourself.
Probably because I'm the grocery shopper.
Could be. And because if you do the math, technically
you're tipping yourself.
You would take money out of your own wallet, you'd put it into whatever the tip was, and then it would come back into your wallet.
Yeah.
And you could kind of subvert that whole process with just not tipping yourself.
This is true. Well,
and so I haven't actually thought about this.
I wasn't actually thinking the tip money was going to come from myself. I was thinking I think that Walmart should have an option that I could tip myself, because I check my groceries out pretty much.
They tip you
9.5 out of 10 times, and they tip me because I really am working.
Okay.
For them.
Now
Yeah.
that's a good, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
My guess is you're going to have a hard time getting Walmart and other businesses to get behind that one. But here's what I will say about this conversation. I do think there's something to be said about the over-tipping culture of America. And it actually ruins it, in my opinion, for people who deserve tips. We're starting to get to where we're sick of constantly being expected to tip, that the few places where you should be tipping, you've kind of got a bad taste in your mouth and a bad attitude about tipping. And so we do a good job tipping. We are honestly good tippers. But my rule, I started this almost 8 or 9 months ago. I've heard others since then kind of mention they might do the same thing. But I made a rule for myself because I constantly felt conflicted standing up there, ordering my own food, basically telling somebody what to do to push my order in, and then me having the option to tip them. I'm like, no. And so here's my rule. If I have to stand on my feet and I have to instruct you from my feet on how to take my order, and then you just hand me the food over the counter, I am not giving anybody a tip for that. That's my rule.
Yeah. So see, you can see my point though. Like at Walmart, I'm on my feet for a long time.
Yes.
If it's a big grocery day, I'm there for a good, decent amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
See, there should be an option like,
to
hey,
tip
thanks
yourself.
for your employment for yourself.
Uh-huh.
Here's $5 off of your next trip.
Instead, they just make you stop on the way out so they can inspect all your stuff.
To make sure that my
make sure you
employment
did it right.
during
Yeah.
that time was accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that.
Yeah, I don't think we should be tipping unless we're actually being truly served. But
or we're working in line at Walmart.
or we're working
right?
in line at Walmart, and I don't know that you're ever going to get that one through. You could write Walmart.
Maybe I will.
In fact, if you want to write a little letter and give it to me, I'll send it to Walmart when we send off the letters to Santa. Okay?
Yeah, sounds promising.
Sounds very promising.
All right. Next, we're going to give you a update on missions. We're in midsummer here, and missions is in full rolling for us. We've had 3 teams so far that have traveled, and we have had a great kickoff to the summer. So we've had 3 teams go to Honduras, and we have one heading to Mexico tomorrow. Or not tomorrow, a couple days from now.
A couple days from now. Yeah.
Yep.
Summers are always busy for extra mile missions, and that means busy for Andrea and I. But yeah, it's been an awesome summer. I think we are close to 75 or more people that we've already sent on a mission this summer, and got more coming.
Yeah.
Been good. We sent a team from North Carolina, a team from Wichita, and then the Well Worship Center, the church that I pastor. We just sent a team with the Well, and that was awesome. It was a high school team, a lot of high school students and
Super
a handful
awesome.
of college students. Fantastic time. God's doing an amazing thing in Honduras. And next week we send a group to Mexico, like you said. God's doing a really awesome work there as well.
Yep, have some service projects we're doing, which is first for us there, and get to help paint inside of one of the churches we've worked with for a long time. So,
Yeah, in Mexico.
Yep.
Next week.
yeah, very excited about that. So
Yeah, if you're interested in knowing more about our mission stuff, check out extramilemissions.org. And it's got all the locations that we work. It's got information about all the different opportunities to get involved, maybe join us on a mission trip someday,
yes,
support the work. If you got any questions at all about the work that we do, please reach out. We'd love to talk to you more about it or respond via email, whatever works for you. But yeah, it's been a great summer so far. Missions are going full speed ahead. And just really, really thankful and grateful for all of the people that allow us to do what we do by supporting the work.
Yes.
And the people that sincerely love these communities that in some of the most impoverished areas on earth that we're committed to. We have some people that really love the people of Honduras, the people of the Philippines, the people of Mexico,
Yes.
homeless here in Wichita, Kansas, that are just committed out of sheer love for people and compassion for people that are trapped in poverty.
Yeah.
And so it's been inspiring to me to see the sheer volume of people here that we're connected with in our circles that honestly just love people.
Yep.
And getting to travel with some of those people and watch them love others and sacrificially give of their own time, talents, and resources so that someone else's life can be better. It's inspiring to me. I love what we do, but I
Yes.
also love watching other people do the work as well.
Yeah. Build the relationships. Pretty amazing. One need we were going to share was one of the greatest needs that we've came across, just because we'd like you to be praying. And the need is our North Carolina team has 2 PAs, and they do a medical station during their VBS time. And they found a little girl in one of the communities that actually has a hole in her heart. Her name is Gracie. And so if you guys could be praying for Gracie, we're not sure what Gracie's end result's going to be yet, because it's a pretty big need, but prayers always change things. And so we just ask that you would help us lift Gracie up. So she's a 10-year-old little girl out in one of the communities. So yeah. All right. And then next is nothing but 4th of July. So
All right.
on to 4th of July faves. What are some of your favorite things with the holiday?
Well, this is a fun holiday because anytime you got fireworks going off, it's just it's meant to be fun. It is a celebration, and so
Kind of like confetti.
Yep, confetti,
confetti.
but on fire, and it's got explosives, which us guys love explosives. It's a fun holiday. It's
Did
a great
you know
holiday.
confetti explodes when you pop it open?
Yep, I did.
Yep.
I did.
You just said. You like explosives, so
Well,
it's deep down inside.
we don't set fireworks off in the house, though. We set them off outside, sweep it all up at once. So, anyways, I love that it's a positive time of celebration, and I personally, the older I've got, the more I enjoy history and appreciate history. I love the way our country was founded. We were founded on the blood, sweat, and tears of some real heroes, and men that were brave enough to do whatever it took to provide safety and freedom for their families. And one of the things that actually fascinates me about the 4th of July is when the Declaration of Independence was signed, and you could call it the birthday of our country in 1776, is that the average age of the men who brought about this great Reformation in our country, the average age, I believe, is 44. That means that they were relatively young, and there were some guys in their 20s. I don't think there was any teenagers that actually signed the Declaration of Independence, but there were some teenagers who were part of that revolution. And I said Reformation, I meant revolution. There were some teenagers who were part of the revolution that brought about the United States of America. And here's why I just think that's awesome. And it teaches us, and history reminds us that even young people, when they're motivated for the right causes, can make a huge difference. And I believe that there's a chance that we're starting to kind of see an awakening amongst our young people. And some of the death to America garbage that has been peddled for the last 10 to 15 years. You see it happening in a lot of our campuses, college campuses. When I hear the general heartbeat of today's early 20s and late teenagers, most of them think that's garbage, and they're starting to sort of be what I might even call a patriotic awakening in our country, and I am a little hopeful that it continues. But I just want to tell our young people, this country was founded on a bunch of young people. And politics and being patriotic and making a difference in your communities is not for a bunch of people who are retired and in their older years of life. It is for all of us. And this 4th of July, that's what I think about, is that this country was founded on young people, and our young people have power to make a huge difference in this country still today.
It's good. Yep.
What do you think about? That's probably, my guess is when you think about the 4th of July, that's just a wild guess. That's probably not what comes to your mind. So tell us, Andrea, what do you think about when you think about the 4th of July?
Well, it might surprise you.
Okay.
I actually, especially as I've gotten older and I've gotten to just experience life more and travel mission wise, my freedom, the thought of me being able to be free as a U.S. citizen, has really brought in, because we go to a lot of places and they're not. And there's a lot of dangerous places we see, and I message back and forth with people all the time, and they're scared for their lives. And so because of that, and constantly being able to have that in my life, I look at the 4th of July a little bit different, because it does, we have it good. We have it really, really good. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. On the flip side, I also enjoy being with friends, family, fireworks, fun food, grilling, all sorts of the things like that. So, me, I love to have fun. So I think about all the other things too.
And it's one of the funnest holidays of the year. So you love the 4th of July.
And it's not just like somebody's birthday, like everybody gets to celebrate it. So, I mean, I guess there are birthdays. But everybody's getting to celebrate it. So
the final thing I think about when I think about the 4th of July, and I say this with mixed emotions, I think about our military.
Yeah.
There's obviously historically the greatest military on earth historically. And I'm so grateful for the current veterans and past veterans and those who laid down their life for our freedoms, because the country that we have would not exist if it wasn't for the multitudes of heroic acts from men and women in the American military. And so there's a real sense of pride on this day in my heart that I'm part of the country that has that military that we've looked at historically, that has made us who we are. And so very proud of that aspect of it. And in 2024, there's a little bit of mixed emotions when I look at the craziness of what's happened under this current Biden administration with the military. And, we've got some transgender leader, a man who pretends to be a woman that's, a part of the highest level of military. I look at just sort of the what I would say is, and it's indisputable, is that the changes that have come have made us a weaker country, all under the disguise of inclusivity, DEI requirements, and we are a weaker army than we have ever been. And for those, that's why I say got a little mixed emotions. For that first section that I talked about that I'm just proud of, like I think of, and my heart swells with pride over it. I'm like, we have such an amazing country, an amazing military. For those people that were part of that group, my heart hurts, especially for them when they see what our military has dissolved into over the last 4 years. It makes me a little sad. And like, for somebody that's not a military guy, I was never in the military, I'm not even sure, to be honest. It's like there's a little bit of awkward. I don't even know what to say to my military friends that are heartbroken because of where we're headed. So, mixed emotions when I think about that aspect of really kind of what this holiday's about, men and women that were willing to fight for our freedoms. And it seems like we had hundreds of years of really solid military, and recently we're watching that dissolve, and it's been a little heartbreaking. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be a bummer here on Celebration 4th of July, but it's a reality. Mm-hmm. And I think especially for those friends of mine that, you're on the right side of this thing, and you truly patriotic, and you believe in this country, and you fight for this country, just know that as far as people like me are concerned, we have not forgotten about your service. We are grateful for your service. We are behind you 100%. And what we need is more men and women like yourselves to say you're going to stand up and you're going to support this country, and you're going to do what you can to help us maintain the freedoms that we have. And so, don't be discouraged. As hard as it sometimes is hard to not be discouraged, know that you've got a bunch of people like myself, my wife, and there are millions of us who are behind you all. We believe in you, and we are so grateful for your service.
Yes. So find somebody this week that you can reach out to and remind them how much we appreciate them for their service.
Finally, you know what we celebrate on the 4th of July?
Yep.
You do.
Yeah.
See, it was a trick question. I wasn't sure if she would know. I was waiting, but she did know. So Andrea gets 1 point. Point to Andrea. What is it that we celebrate today?
Our anniversary.
You got it, babe.
24
years.
Ding,
ding, ding, ding, ding. 24 years of marriage today. And what an awesome marriage it's been. But yeah, we got married on July 4th.
Yep.
Thought, at least we'll always have fireworks.
Yes.
something to do.
Yep.
Should basically, generally, hopefully have the day off.
Yep.
And I've never regretted getting married on July 4th.
Yeah.
When we used to work the fire tents all the time, firework tents, I regretted working the firework tents, but I didn't regret getting married on July 4th because it's awesome. We get to celebrate our anniversary.
Yes.
24 years. Tell our listeners, like, how awesome has it been being married to me for 24 years?
Oh, they have no idea.
Tell us.
Yes. He's always there for me when I want to shoot off confetti cannons. And he sweeps it up. No, I'm just kidding. I usually try to sweep my own mess up before he ever finds it. But no, it's been awesome. We've had just a lot happens in 24 years and a lot changes in 24 years. But through it all, God's been faithful and we've grown and we've it's been really good. It's been really, really good. So
It has been.
yeah.
I've loved being married to you. You're an amazing wife. It's been said, not by me, but I believe it, and I will second it, that you'll really never know how great marriage can be until you get it into the second decade. And for us, the first 10 years was difficult. I think the first at least 5 to 7 is hard for everybody in most cases. It's your younger years of life. You've got small kids in the house. You don't make a whole lot of money. And so you get some of those stressors are involved. And honestly, you're learning each other. You're learning how to be a husband, how to be a wife, and they can be tough. They can be tough. Andrea and I had some tough years. You know, the first 7-8 years that we were together, but it has been amazing. And 24 years, just awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome. There are a lot of things that change over 24 years, but there are some things that have not. And definitely our love for each other has grown. But we love each other just as much as we did on the day we got married. And something else that hasn't changed is Andrea's face. I mean, you look at pictures of her from our wedding date and pictures of her today, she looks identical. It's like she hasn't aged a single day. So yay for me and yay for her. But she is a beautiful, beautiful woman. I'm glad to be married to her. She's so much fun. And 24 years of marriage has been awesome. If the Lord does not come back sooner and we live on another 24 years, hopefully we can celebrate 24 years from now. Love being married to you. You're a whole lot of fun. Couldn't imagine living life without you. She's shy now, I think. Are you shy?
Yeah, I guess. Yep. That was very nice. Yep.
All right.
Yep. And you already lost your hair this far in it, so we don't have to worry about that as the years go by.
Yeah, lost my hair a while back.
Yep. You said a lot can change.
A lot can change. And so now that I've lost all my hair, you know, my pictures look like they're staying similar. There was a lot of change in my pictures year after year, and then I just shaved it all off, and so now I have a much more consistent look. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So true story.
Looks good.
And all right, hey, happy 4th of July, everybody.
Happy 4th of July.
Andrea,
get your favorite fireworks.
Yep.
Shoot them off.
Shoot them off. Have fun.
Eat
Tell somebody you love
snacks,
them.
Watch fireworks. Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Yes.
Love
thank
you, babe.
Happy anniversary.
All right, guys,
Happy
that's it for the
4th.
podcast. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your 4th of July holiday, and we'll see you next time.